This deep dive takes us straight into a true crime mystery.
Oh, wow.
A missing woman,
Okay.
a cryptic text message, and a gruesome discovery that will send chills down your spine. Sounds intense.
This isn't just a story, though.
Right.
It's the case of Lisa Spence.
And what makes this case so interesting is the lengths that law enforcement went to uncover the truth using some unconventional tactics.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Yeah.
Lisa Spence was a recent immigrant from Trinidad.
Okay.
She was living in Broward County, Florida, when she vanished on October 7th, 2009.
Okay.
And her boyfriend, Paul Edwards, immediately became a person of interest.
Right away.
Yeah.
So the police, they cloned Lisa's phone.
Okay.
And they sent a text message to Edwards.
Oh, wow.
Hoping to get some sort of reaction from him.
But wouldn't that risk alerting him if they were onto him?
So that's where it gets kind of clever.
So it wasn't actually about finding Lisa. It was about observing Edwards' response. If he was innocent, you'd expect maybe confusion, maybe concern. Instead, what he did was what investigators called a heat run.
A heat run?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
So a heat run is a series of erratic driving maneuvers. Think like tons of U-turns, driving up and down the same streets repeatedly, almost as if he was trying to detect if he was under surveillance.
But he thought he was being followed.
Exactly.
And was trying to shake whoever might be tailing him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's suspicious.
Very much so.
So did this heat run beat police anywhere?
So Edwards, he made a few stops during the heat run, including one at a friend's house.
Okay.
The police, they later went and interviewed this friend.
But that seems like a risky move.
It does.
Like, wouldn't that tip Edwards off?
You would think so.
Yeah.
But they were trying to build a case, and they needed something solid to tie him to Lisa, to Lisa's disappearance.
So visiting the friend seems like it could have backfired.
Potentially.
Did the police uncover anything useful?
Not immediately.
No. Okay.
Their attention kind of shifted towards areas Edwards had been to, like frequently during the drive.
Right.
Looking at spots that would be good to conceal a body.
They were essentially looking for a needle in a haystack.
Oh, it was more like looking for a grain of sand in a desert.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They spent days going through these areas.
Wow.
But progress was really slow.
Yeah.
So they decided to bring in cadaver dogs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what did the dogs lead them to?
The dogs took them to a 55-gallon drum.
Okay.
A shipping barrel.
Okay.
Abandoned in a remote area.
A shipping barrel. Why would that be significant?
Well, it might seem random,
yeah,
but it's actually very relevant in Caribbean culture. Shipping barrels are commonly used to transport goods. It's a detail that could be missed without that cultural understanding.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so did they open the barrel?
They chose not to open it at the scene to prevent contaminating any potential evidence.
Oh, that's really important.
It is. Yeah. It's a good example of how meticulously these forensic investigations are conducted.
So they transported the barrel.
They did.
And what did they find inside?
When they finally opened the barrel
at
the medical examiner's office, they found a decapitated female body.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's disturbing.
It is.
This case just took a very dark turn.
It did.
And this grim discovery presented a new obstacle, identifying the remains.
Exactly.
They couldn't just assume it was Lisa?
Right.
And with decomposition, wouldn't that make identification even more difficult?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The body's state made standard DNA testing impossible.
Oh, my gosh.
So, back to square one.
Wow. So they had this horrifying discovery, but couldn't even confirm who it was.
Right.
What did they do?
This is where you see Detective Smith's dedication.
Okay.
He was convinced the body was Lisa's.
Okay.
So he started looking into other ways to identify her. And that led him to familial DNA, which meant getting samples from Lisa's family in Trinidad.
Well, wait.
Yeah.
He's just a detective in Florida.
Right.
Not like some international agent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of red tape.
Oh, I bet.
Something I'm sure we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Those systems and processes designed to make things difficult.
Yeah.
But Detective Smith, he persevered.
Okay.
And he got permission to go to Trinidad.
So he goes to Trinidad, meets Lisa's family. That must have been...
Oh, it was a very sensitive situation.
While they were waiting for the DNA results, Detective Smith showed Lisa's daughter a picture.
Okay, of some toe rings?
Toe rings. That were found on the body.
What could those possibly tell them?
Sometimes it's the smallest things that are the most important.
Yeah.
Lisa's daughter, she recognized them right away.
Really?
So they belonged to her mother.
Wow.
So this tiny detail became this crucial link.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, a moment of recognition in all this tragedy.
So while all of that's happening back in Trinidad, did investigators look into Paul Edwards' background?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. While they were waiting on the DNA, Detective Smith dug into Edwards' past, contacted law enforcement in Trinidad and Tobago, and a disturbing pattern started to emerge.
What do you mean?
Edwards had a history of violence against women.
Oh, no.
Including an active warrant for his arrest.
What was the warrant for?
It was for something called malicious wounding. Basically, it's a really serious and deliberate act of violence.
Okay.
Edwards had stabbed a previous girlfriend.
Oh, my God.
Multiple times.
So he had a documented history.
He did.
Of violence against women.
Yeah.
That's chilling.
It is.
But wouldn't that be prejudicial?
You're right.
To use that in court?
You can't convict someone just based on their past actions.
Right.
The focus has to be on the evidence for these specific charges.
I see what you mean.
It might seem like, oh, he stabbed someone before, he must be guilty.
Yeah.
But imagine if you were judged by your past mistakes forever.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Our legal system focuses on evidence related to the crime at hand.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, it's about fairness.
Right.
Preventing biases from influencing the outcome.
But knowing about his past.
Oh, definitely.
Must have been valuable to the investigator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It provided context.
Okay.
You know, helped understand potential motives.
Right.
Capacity for violence.
Okay.
And then another key witness came forward.
Okay.
A friend of Lisa's who had been to Edwards' house.
Yeah.
Shortly before she disappeared.
Okay. What does she have to say?
She remembered seeing a 55-gallon drum in Edwards' house.
Yeah.
Very similar to the one they found Lisa in.
Oh, wow.
And remember how when they first searched Edwards' place, there were none of Lisa's things there.
Like what?
No toothbrush.
Oh, wow.
No hairbrush.
Okay.
Nothing.
Like, they vanished.
Exactly.
That's so strange.
Super suspicious, right?
Yeah, so they have the history of violence, the matching barrel, her belongings gone.
Yep.
It's really coming together.
Right.
Did those DNA results ever come back?
They did.
Yeah?
Confirmed that the body was Lisa Spence.
Wow.
And that drop of Lisa's blood in the rental car Edwards used, that also came back as a match for Lisa.
So they have a positive ID. Her blood in his car. And the barrel.
Yeah.
Seen at his place.
It's looking pretty bad for Edwards.
Did he try to say anything to defend himself?
Instead of offering an alibi,
he
tried to shift the blame.
Oh.
He claimed to know the real killer. Said it was Lisa's new boyfriend.
A new boyfriend?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
They had already looked into this supposed new boyfriend early in the investigation, ruled him out.
Yeah.
Seems like Edwards was grasping at straws.
Yeah, especially since their relationship was rocky.
Right.
And she wanted to leave, but he was controlling.
So this idea of a new boyfriend starts to make sense.
Like a motive.
Exactly.
You add that to the blood, the barrel, her stuff missing.
Right.
It's not looking good for him.
Not at all.
So it seems like he was trying to create a distraction.
Yeah.
One last attempt to avoid responsibility. What did his lawyers do?
They tried to poke holes in the prosecution's case. They pointed out there were no fingerprints at the crime scene.
Yeah.
And no witnesses who could put Edwards with the barrel.
Yeah.
Where they found it.
Okay.
Trying to create reasonable doubt.
Yeah, they have to prove he's guilty.
Exactly.
It must have been so tense.
Oh, yeah.
Waiting for the verdict. So what happened in court? I bet it was a nail biter waiting to hear what the jury would decide.
Yeah, it was.
So did they find Edwards guilty?
Well, the jury, they deliberated for less than 3 hours.
Wow, that's quick.
Before returning with a verdict.
And what was the outcome?
Paul Edwards was found guilty of the murder of Lisa Spence.
Wow.
And sentenced to life in prison.
That's a relief to hear.
It is.
Justice was served.
There was a real sense of relief and closure in the courtroom.
Yeah, I bet.
It was a long road for Lisa's family. But They finally got the answers.
Yeah.
And the justice they deserved.
And Detective Smith's dedication to finding the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Really commendable.
Absolutely.
It just goes to show that even when things seem impossible, the truth can come out.
It can.
This case has taken us through so much.
Yes.
From the shock of Lisa's disappearance to that horrible discovery of her remains.
Yeah.
And finally, the guilty verdict.
It's definitely been a journey.
It really shows the human cost of these crimes.
It does.
Lisa's life was tragically cut short.
Way too soon.
And even though justice has been served, it can't bring her back.
It can't.
Thinking back to Lisa's daughter, recognizing those toe rings.
Yeah.
It's amazing how such a small detail
I know, right?
played such a big role in the investigation.
It just goes to show you got to pay attention to the little things.
It's so easy to overlook those small details.
It is.
To just dismiss them as not important.
Yeah, but
they can hold so much meaning.
It really can.
It reminds us to be more observant. To really pay attention to those subtle things.
To the things we might usually miss.
Yeah, because you never know.
Right.
What tiny detail could be the key to solving a mystery.
Or making a breakthrough.
Yeah, or in just any part of life.
Absolutely.
This case really highlights that.
It does.
So what do you think is the most crucial takeaway from Lisa Spence's case?
For me, it's that you have to consider everything, even if it seems small or insignificant.
Like those toe rings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that shipping barrel, those little things helped bring her killer to justice.
Yeah, and it reminds us that even in the darkest times, there's still hope.
Absolutely.
People like Detective Smith who never give up.
Yeah.
And that the truth can be uncovered.
It can.
This deep dive into Lisa Spence's case has been really intense.
It has.
It's been a journey through the darkness of these crimes, the complexities of the investigation, and that fight for justice.
But ultimately, it was successful.
It was. And that's what matters.
And it reminds us to be vigilant. Yes.
To appreciate those small details.
Yeah.
And to remember the human impact behind these tragic events.
It's easy to forget.
Yeah. As we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you to think about the power of observation and paying attention to detail.
In your own life.
This case might inspire you to look closer at the world around you and consider the meaning of those often overlooked details.
The ones that shape our experiences.
Exactly.